And we are live. We are live. There's no rehearsing going on here, mate. We can't screw this up.
Okay.
So hey, guys. Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. Hope you're having a great morning so far. If you're out here in the West Coast, and East Coast is now in the afternoon. We are Thursday, and as you can see, I got my really good friend, Tony Dawson, here with us. Mate, you're up in Lake Tahoe. Is that right?
It is. It's beautiful. It's sunny, and it's about 22 degrees. So it's a little chilly for me, but it's always nice to be here.
Wintertime. So wintertime of this year gets a little chilly for sure. Well, I know you got a big project or a couple of projects that you're working on up there. So guys, what we're going to do today is I'm gonna ask Tony to share as many stories as he wants about the time when he got coached by Dennis Ralston. But first, before we start, Tony, why don't you give us a little update on what's happening with services and that stuff for Dennis?
Yeah, Brent. Well, thank you for this opportunity to talk about Dennis. And I think that over the last several days, as many people have seen the tributes and accolades to Dennis that are so well deserved and just being flowing, which means that how well he touched people around the world. One, as a player, two, as a coach, but I think as a human being, he just, and I know you watched this as well, Brent, we watched him teach some 2-0 or 3-0 ladies, and it was just like he was teaching Chris Abbott or some of his great students in the past. So I know the family really appreciates that. I did text with Linda yesterday and just kind of get an update for everybody. Want to know, well, can you do during COVID these services? And obviously that's not possible. So the plan is they did a service for him last week, a memorial service with just the family. And Donald Dell is organizing an event at the BNP. That's the latest plan. So that the first real major event in the U.S. And Palm Springs, as you know, Dennis spent a lot of time there at Mission Hills. And so that's really what's going to happen. Yet to be seen with COVID and everything that's going on, particularly in California. So,
well, I did those interviews with Dennis earlier this year. I did 7 interviews, and I'm in the process right now of editing the video. And I'm going to put it in 3 different formats. There's going to be a video, there's going to be the audio portion of those, and then also a transcript. And I just talked to Shelly Foreman, who I believe is from Austin, and she and I are kind of coordinating this thing, and we're gonna put it out there, and it's gonna be a donation thing for the GoFundMe page for the Ralston family to help offset all of the expenses that they've had to incur. But I will get that out there hopefully in the next few days.
Oh, bless you.
And so Tony, listen, what's the gold ball count before you started playing a little pickleball? Okay, what? Sorry. What's the current gold ball count before you get back onto the tennis court?
I'm at 12.
You're at 12. Okay. Okay. Singles and doubles.
Yep.
Singles and doubles and a few World Cup teams, right?
Yeah, I was on 4 World Cup teams and had great teams. It's always good about picking great partners, and so fortunate enough to win 3 of those and runner up in 1, which was a tough one.
That's tough. Well, it's good. So look, before we talk about, because the reason I bring up the gold balls and the World Cup teams is when you got coached by Dennis, you were already playing at the top of your game. I mean, you were already in the gold ball hunt. You were already in some of these teams, and you still wanted to get some extra help from him.
Right.
But give us the 30-second Tony Dawson background in terms of Australia, coming over to play at Oklahoma City College or whatever it was, and then but just kind of give us the abridged version of, I think abridged means shortened version, isn't it? Anyway, the shortened version of your background.
Yeah, thank you, Brent. So grew up in Australia, played tennis, started at 12. Fortunate enough to be in the top 10 when I kind of finished playing. My juniors was recruited to go to Oklahoma City on a scholarship. It was either Oklahoma City or Vietnam. It wasn't Wasn't sure about the choice when I made it, when I landed in Oklahoma City. We had a great team of guys that were primarily foreigners. So being able to play college tennis and play tennis every day in a competitive format was great. Played the tour for 3.5 years and decided that eating was important. And that never really got to that level where you could actually, or there wasn't any money in the game, unfortunately, but never got to that level where I could sustain out there. And so then I taught for several years, and I got out of the tennis business as a pure player teacher at that time to pursue another hospitality career. So that's really that's the abridged version, as you say.
Yeah, good. Well, and then you also, 10 years ago started, about 10 years ago, kind of got back into the senior game and started playing again and started doing some training and playing some tournaments, doing a little traveling.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't play for 30 years after I stopped playing, and was convinced by a couple of good former guys who used to play college tennis against, Tommy Cannell and guys in Austin at the time, to start playing tennis. And it was a great way for me to get out and get some exercise. And when I first started playing, I will tell you, I was unbelievably humbled, because it's a different game playing senior tennis. You just don't have the weapons that you used to have anymore. So, but I've really enjoyed the tennis community and connecting with so many people like yourself, Brent, and some old friends and new friends, and it's just a treat to be out there competing.
That's cool. Great. That's great. All right. Well, so take us through, your desire to kind of reach out to Dennis when you were living in Austin, Texas, and getting on the court with him. And was there anything specific that you were looking for him to help you with, or did you just kind of go out there and say, Coach, what do you think?
Well, I'd known Dennis as a ball boy for him in Australia. Then I knew him when I played, and then we disconnected when I wasn't in the game, and then really got reconnected through FCA again. And then in Austin, when I started playing again, I was kind of fumbling around out there and doing okay, but not really to the point where I was completely satisfied with my game. So I said to Dennis, he said, well, just come by and hit a few balls with me, Tony. I was, gosh, to hit a few balls with Dennis at that stage of life was just was an honor. And so there were a few things that we really, we knew about, or at least I thought I knew about the game and thought I knew about how to play and things like that. But a few things that he really brought to my attention about how to, really improve and really more or less give me confidence in what I was doing. And the first thing was about, Tony, you got to learn to shape the ball again. We all grew up in an era where we hit the ball very flat, and with the equipment that we're playing with these days, if you're out there and just hitting a flat ball, your margin of error is not very good. So it was all about creating safety by shaping the ball. And it's so relevant in today's game. If you see these Nadal and all this topspin, and even on a slice shot. So that was something that I hadn't really heard necessarily when I was growing up. Shape the ball. Nobody really hit topspin. It's just, keep it on the racket as long as you can and all those kind of things. So that was one which was important, because you don't have the weapons to hit winners all the time at this season of life. I'll put it that way. So shaping the ball. The other really important thing was really when and it kind of suited my game as well, as to attack the second serve and really take advantage of coming in, even though you're going to get past because you can't cover the whole court, and really try to take advantage of that, to put a lot of pressure on the other guy by simply taking time away from him. It's a short ball, but if you can come in and you can attack that second serve, you don't have to hit a winner. You create shape by hitting the ball out in front and early. Doing that, and it was interesting, because every time Dennis told you to do something, it wasn't he said, this is what I do, this is what Pancho told me to do. So his idol growing up and throughout his entire career was Pancho Gonzalez, the great Pancho Gonzalez. So Dennis would say, hey, Tony, this is what Pancho would tell me to do. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got Dennis telling me what to do, and then Pancho on his shoulder.
Right.
How can you go wrong? So
all I can do is screw this up myself. It's
look in the mirror. Is
that's
exactly right. So Dennis had a way, as you well know, Brent, when you were working out with Dennis, he just had a very gracious style about do it this simple way, which it gave you the confidence to go out there and say, okay, I trust him. He's not trying to tell me something tricky, but just trust what he says and then just work on it and practice it. And actually, the last thing he said to me, which I think this was last week and a half ago now, and I was visiting with him in hospital. He said, Tony, and he was somewhat loose. He said, play sets. He said, don't just hit balls, Tony. Just go out and play sets. I mean, I'm talking about Dennis's life. And he said, get out there and play sets and play many sets as you can and put yourself in these positions. So
right.
There's so many things that Dennis did, but I would say those two things.
You told me the other day when we were kind of prepping to do this is I asked you, what did he help you with? The other thing that is maybe characteristic to Australian tennis players is the old walkabout.
Oh, yeah.
So, in which you've been, and I'm not going to dig into some of those matches, but you've, kind of put yourself in jeopardy a few times when you've had a match in control, right. And then you do the classic walkabout, which is mentally just kind of check out for a while, and you got to scramble sometimes to get it back and close out the match. So, did he help you with that at all? Did he coach you on
he
what
did.
to do?
He did. He came out and watched some matches, me play some matches, and I would just, on a fairly competitive match, if I got ahead, then I would say, okay, I can take the foot off the gas and just kind of coast a little bit, maybe save my energy because I'm, not necessarily a young fella anymore. And his philosophy was, Tony, when you got a guy in the corner, finish him. And so when you're up, then try to get up even further. So if you win the first set 6-0, 6-1, whatever it is, continue to come in, continue to keep the pressure on the guy. And it was all about taking time away from the other player as a senior tennis player. If you sit back on the baseline and you just kind of float the ball around, it's hard to play and you may not be in shape, but keep the pressure on until the very end. And then you could look around the stands and say hi to your wife and kids and grandkids and what have you. So but that was really important for him because he played that way. I mean, Dennis was really a commanding player and didn't really let up. But some of us Aussies we want to enjoy what we're doing, right?
Sure. That's right. Well, those are all great things. Those three things right there about shaping the ball. And you even mentioned, I love what you said, even if you're playing the slice, there's still a sense of shaping that shot that is not a flat ball. And you're right. We all grew up with wood tennis rackets where you couldn't break an egg. At least I couldn't break an egg anyway. So so now with the rackets we've got and the strings we've got, the opportunity to shape a tennis ball, meaning a little bit more arc, doesn't have to be massive top, but it has to be something that allows some swing freedom. And then the other thing you talked about with just attack the second serve, Jeff Jacklich and I talked about that last week, is that it may be the shortest ball that you get in the point.
Right.
Especially against the top senior players who just aren't going to allow they're just not going to give you a bunch of short balls in the point. So it may be that's the best opportunity right there. And then the other thing you talked about is the mental thing is, for me, what I've had to do is this little 4-part between points routine that if I don't stick to it, if I don't stay disciplined to it, and you're right. I mean, you can be up, you can be way ahead. You can win the first set pretty easily, be up a break in the second, and just kind of lose concentration, and that can get tricky. The one thing when I was on the court, I think I shared this story recently with you one day, and I had Dennis on my side coaching me. I'll just never forget. I remember I was working on some serve and volley. I served to you, deuce court, and I got kind of maybe about a shoulder high backhand transitional volley. And I hit it just as well as I could hit a backhand volley to that opposite corner. And it just rattled against that tape, right against the top of the net. And he said, well, what's your target? And I said, well, it's that spot over there on the court. And he said, well, just like you said, what Pancho told me, what he taught me was your target's a spot above the top of the net. It's
Right.
a little window above the top of the net. Don't think about the other side of the court.
Right.
Make that target a lot more tangible by bringing it closer to you.
Right.
And the other thing I loved about that is it kind of gave me the freedom to have a little bit more technique on it, where I didn't worry about hitting the ball out, because I
Right.
wasn't thinking about a spot on the other side of the court where I had to keep it inside the lines.
Right.
I just thought about a spot over the top of the net.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that gem from him really has helped me on all parts of my game. I mean, on all shots of the game too.
Right.
And I'm sure that you experience the same thing with him as when you're on the court with the Dennis Ralston.
Yeah.
You feel that even if he says the exact same words that someone else said, you go, well, this is way more important coming from him.
Yeah.
There's so much more credibility.
Yeah, and he had a subtle way about the net, and to what you were just describing, Brent. He said, Tony, just think about it. If you miss it out by a foot, it's okay. If you miss it in the net, you miss by 39 feet.
That's good.
You just think about that.
That's right.
If you're going to miss it by a foot. Don't miss by 39 feet.
Yeah,
and so that's
good.
Always stuck with me as well. So I'd much rather hit a ball out than hear Dennis, which I know he'll be telling me if I start playing again.
That's right.
39 feet.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that. All right, mate. Well, listen, I won't keep you going. I know you got a busy project going up there in Lake Tahoe.
Yep.
And you know, make sure you keep punching that time card up there.
Right.
All right. Well, listen. Anything else on Dennis? As kind of a parting words here.
I appreciate everybody's prayers for Linda and the family. Linda is just relieved he's out of pain now, and he said he's up there playing with Osuna and all his buddies, and just having a great time. So I just the special pleasure that you and I both had a chance to spend time with him was just something I'll cherish the rest of my life. Good.
Tony, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it. Always fun hanging out with you, mate. Guys, hope you enjoyed. What's that?
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Same to you and Ellen as well. Guys, hope you enjoyed today's chat with Tony Dawson. Any comments, just go ahead and load them up in the comment section. I promise to get back to you. Or you can send me an email, brent@webtennis.com. That works, or direct message me. Any one of those three ways is fine. Tony, thanks again. Man, really appreciate it. Guys, get out there today. Help someone else have a great day, and we'll do this again soon. Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Brent. Take care.